minutes early, and today's a big one. This slab right here might not look like much yet, but this is the foundation for the entire storage system behind the workshop. Up until now, everything's been building the workshop shell, framing, walls, structure. But today, we're pouring a permanent piece of this setup. And once this goes in, there's no turning back. You only get one shot at a slab. So this morning was all about preparation, getting the levels right, making sure everything's square, and setting it up so the pour goes smoothly. Because this isn't just a slab, this is where all the materials are going to live. This is what's going to free up space inside the workshop. Before we get to the pour, there's something I actually prepared a few weeks ago. I knew I wanted a rebate around the slab, so I knocked up this frame out of some scrap timber I had lying around. Just laminating strips together, gluing and brad nailing until I hit the exact size I needed. Nothing fancy, but it does the job. The only problem was, part of it had some MDF in it, and there was no way I was letting that get wet before the pour. So this actually took a bit more thought than I expected. The goal here was to create a rebate around the slab, something that the shed walls can sit into, and more importantly, something that keeps water from sitting inside the shed. The rebate needed to be 50 by 25 mil, so the walls sit down inside it, and any water can drain away below floor level instead of pooling inside. But the tricky part was, I didn't actually have the timber thickness I needed. I was about 10 mil short once I'd put two laminations together. All I had lying around was a sheet of 10 mil MDF. So the plan was simple. Rip it down into strips, laminate it onto the timber, and build up that extra thickness. Glue, clamp, brad nails to hold everything in place, just stacking it up until I hit that 50 mil overall thickness. Because with something like this, accuracy actually matters. If this rebate isn't straight, or it's out of square, then the entire shed sits wrong on the slab. So I had to make sure every length was right, every corner lined up, and the whole frame stayed square all the way around. It's one of those details you don't really see once it's done, but it makes a massive difference to how everything performs. Now, the only issue was that part of this was made of MDF, and MDF and water don't mix. So instead of installing it early, I made the call to store it away and bring it out on pour day. That way it stays dry, holds its shape, and does exactly what it's meant to do. Once everything was built up to thickness, it was just a matter of cutting it all to length, dialing it in, and making sure each piece fit exactly where it needed to go. So with that done, it was ready for pour day. Alright, back to it. Next job of the morning, getting this rebate frame installed into the formwork. I'm fixing it in using pocket hole screws, just to hold everything tight and in position. This locks the rebate exactly where it needs to sit, so once the concrete goes in, everything lines up perfectly. This isn't staying in just yet. We actually pull it back out, and there's a reason for that. If we left it in now, we'd have to try and shovel concrete underneath it, and that's just asking for voids. So instead, we pour some concrete first, get a solid base down, then drop the rebate back in where it belongs. It also gives me access to seal up the formwork, so no concrete leaks out underneath. Last thing you want is losing your mix before it even sets. So this sheet metal that we're adding around the base of the formwork here is just to make sure we don't lose any concrete underneath. And from there it's time to get reinforcement in. So we lay out the mesh across the entire slab area, making sure everything's covered properly. Then I go through and place the bar chairs, spacing them out evenly and keeping them clear of the edges. That way the mesh sits up inside the concrete, right where it actually does its job. And just to be safe, we throw in a bit of extra reinforcement on the outside. A few heavy steel pieces just to stop the formwork from bowing out under pressure. Because once this concrete hits, there's a lot of force pushing against these sides. And with that, we're ready. Midday hits, and it's time to pour. Alright, here we go. First load's going in. Dad's on the wheelbarrow, and I'm on the mixer. We start from one corner, and work our way across. Just filling it up section by section. Nice and steady, everything's going down exactly how we planned. At this stage, everything's running smooth. Once we got started, it didn't take long to find a rhythm. And with something like this, it's actually easier to stick to one job, rather than constantly switching around. So I stayed on the mixer, kept the batches coming. And Dad handled the wheelbarrow, spreading it out, and working it into place. Load after load, just repeating the same process, over and over again. And for a slab this size, it takes a fair few barrow loads to fill it up. So it's not just about getting the mix right, it's about keeping up the pace, and having the stamina to push through. As we go, Dad starts screeding it off, bringing everything back to level. And once we had a base layer down, this is where we bring the rebates back in, dropping them into place while the concrete's still workable, so they sit exactly where they need to be. And at this point, everything's still running smooth. But as we start getting deeper into the pour, we realise something. We're running low on cement mix, and not just a little bit. We're not going to have enough to finish the slab. So we had to make a call at the halfway point. We drop in a couple of timber boards to act as a temporary barrier, just to stop the concrete from flowing through and losing our level across the whole slab. That way, we can at least lock in what we've already poured. So I had to jump in the car and make a quick run to grab more bags. After 45 minutes or so, I was able to come back with more cement mix, and luckily, the first section hadn't set enough to cause any issues. So we were able to tie it all together and keep the pour moving. From there, it was just a matter of pushing through, getting the rest of it in, and bringing the whole slab up to level. Now we're into the final stretch. Last few barrel loads going in. Just trying to push through and get it done. You can probably see the light starting to fade. We've been at this for almost 7 hours straight. No real breaks, just non-stop mixing, pouring and levelling. And at this point, it's all about getting that finish right. Screeding it off, bringing everything back to level, and smoothing it out the best we can. Because this is it, there's no fixing it once it sets. And after a long day, we've got a slab. I'll be honest, I didn't expect this to be this physical. Mixing, lifting, pushing barrows over and over again for hours. It really gives you an appreciation for the guys that do this every single day. Full-time concreters, absolute respect. Now from here, we leave it to cure and give it at least a week before putting any load on it or building on top. It's one of those jobs that takes a lot out of you, but at the same time it's a big step forward. Next episode I'll be getting stuck into the shed kit and putting the finishing touches on the workshop wall frame. One step closer to a fully functional Samurai Joinery HQ. If you've been following along, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.